And welcome to Hero Power. I am your host, Avantes, and as always, I am joined by my co-hosts, Zeroshio
What is up, gang?
and Versika.
How's it going, fellas? Hope you had a great Turkey Day.
And we have a very special guest joining us tonight, Straydog.
What's going on, guys?
We are glad you are here, sir. Glad you could join us.
I'm glad to be here. Thank y'all.
That's a mighty sexist accent you have.
I try. I do my best.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little background is Straydog's been a long time listener of the show, and he's written in a couple times, and he's been really getting in the community lately. And he happened to guest host on our friend Andrew's Living's podcast, The Happy Hearthstone. And until that point, I had never heard Straydog's wonderful dulcet tones. And I immediately said, we got to get this guy on the show.
True
I
story.
like it.
True story.
True story.
That's exactly the way it went down. He calls me. Calls me. He's like, "Man, have you heard Stray Dog? We've got to get him on the show." Nothing to do
That's
with your
exactly
Hearthstone
how the,
prowess. Nothing to do with your
exactly-
Hearthstone prowess. It's all about your accent.
At first.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, the Stray Dog reached out, and he's been really adding a lot to the community. Of course, his spot on the Happy Hearthstone, if you haven't checked it out, you definitely need to check that out over at MMOreporter.net? I believe that's what it is. But he has some really good tidbits and advice he wants to share. We're going to be going over that over the play portion today. Yeah, but let's get to it. I'm excited.
Yeah, so Stray Dog, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? You know, how long have you been playing Hearthstone? How'd you get into it? Just give us a little bit of background.
All right. I believe I was playing since the beginning. I remember looking back on my my Instagram and seeing where I'd posted the mobile version that came out. And I'd already been playing for a while before that. I wasn't part of the beta though. I wasn't part of that. I can't exactly tell you how long. I just know it's been a while, and it was sort of towards the beginning because I was really, really excited. As soon as I found out they was taking the Warcraft and making it a card game, because I was real big at the time in playing WoW and just creating every class, everything possible, and just going everywhere and leveling up my characters. And then I loved that lore that was behind it all. So, and I'd never played any type of card games like that. So, kind of mashing the two together, it's really exciting to me. So I've always liked playing games, just any type of game. I mean, board games at home, like Monopoly, all the way to playing video games on the console, even going outside and being competitive in soccer or something. I've loved just games, So starting out just playing, I was actually started out playing Cubert on the Atari, right?
There we go.
Then,
Nice,
yeah,
nice.
right. So my dad, he showed me that, and then it kind of just escalates from there, going to from the Cubert to like a regular Nintendo, moving up to a Sega Genesis, and all the way up till I finally got into playing on a computer. I actually started out playing EverQuest, and a friend poached me to WoW, and that's when my mind was just blown. I was just like, this is so much better than anything I've ever done on Xbox, PlayStation, and I'd never really played any type of card game other than, say, poker. That's the type of cards that was my experience. And this kind of takes the aspect of like Texas Hold'em, where you have a hand that you play with, but you can play off of the board as well, like the river and the flop. And then it mashes it together with something like checkers or chess, where you have these really trying to outplay your opponent and outsmart them and be more competitive. So taking that and then cramming it into a digital game I can take on the go or play on the PC and stuff without having to carry cards with me. You take all that together and just smash it into one big cool game. I was all in. As soon as I heard it, I was ready for it to come out that day. I was so happy. I had a reminder, and then I remember I was sitting there in class, and the students had left, the bell rang, I was sitting there, and it pops up on my screen. It's like, it's available on mobile. And I was just like, snapshot, put it on there. I was just downloaded everywhere I can get it, and I was ready to go. Had no idea what I was doing, of course. Had no clue, because I have never played any sort of a Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Pokemon, or definitely not Magic. So I was just like this excited little teenager again, And
that's nice. That's awesome.
That is
since
awesome.
then, I've really stopped playing everything else. I don't play my Xbox much anymore. I don't play my Wii. I really just play Hearthstone. I just fell in love with this game, and been trying to get better ever since.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I can definitely. Zeroshio got me into EverQuest. That was one of my very first MMOs that I ever played, and then, in fact, I guess it was you. No, because I got you into WoW, didn't I? Because I switched to WoW first, or maybe you did. Maybe you
got
to
me
WoW
into
first.
WoW.
Yeah, I don't remember, but
No,
yeah.
well,
I know
you got me into Final Fantasy, and I got you into WoW.
Yeah, I think that's
Well,
right.
I know Avanti's poached me from another MMO into WoW.
Yeah. So, been there, done that. Love, but Zeroshio and I and Versika, we all have backgrounds in Magic the Gathering, so that's just kind of a perfect storm when Hearthstone came along. In fact, funny story, I had just started buying the WoW TCG like a month before they announced they were discontinuing it. So I have a few boxes of the cards laying around that I got really cheap. So, but we've got a little bit of news to talk about today, and then we're going to look at some of the cards that have been released since last week, and then we're going to play a deck. We're going to actually play a wild deck this week. And one of the main reasons we've had Straydog on the show is he's kind of developed this system that we're going to talk about as we play. But why don't you give us a little bit of a synopsis of what it is before we get started?
All right. It's basically, if you remember when you were at school and you had the order of operations that you would do a math problem or an equation in, and it was like, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, and each one of them was like parentheses. That's kind of what I was thinking. I had collected a bunch of these little Post-it note like dealies of yeah, I know this actually says create backup because I got to create a backup. So I had them all over there. I would hear something from a podcast, maybe a stream or some of my coaching, and I would write these little things down, and I started realizing that these are things that I need to be doing every single turn. This isn't something it's situational. You always go over this step every single turn. Started to compile them, and then I realized some of them were reworded but the exact same meaning. So I started just going to squish them down and kind of get them in an order that I like them. But I'm sure other people may want to change them in a different order of what kind of suits them. So it's just a step-by-step breakdown for each turn to keep everything in check and make sure you don't miss something. It helped me because my brain, I'm always just go, 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 go. So I want to get that green button and click end as fast as I can, and I have to break myself from doing that. And this is what's helped me out. I've borrowed or learned a lot of this stuff from you guys, and as well as all the other like 12 podcasts I listen to or people I watch stream. So this may be something you may hear something and you want your credit. I'll give you the credit if you tell me this was you. I remember some of them, and some of them I'm not quite sure where I got it from. But it's not that big of a list because, like I said, each turn you go over these, it's like maybe 5 or 6 bullet points, and it's really, really helped me out as far as my turn by turn, my step by step order of operations that I need to go through in my head.
Okay, cool. Well, I look forward to seeing this in action here in just a little while. So, really, the only real bit of news we've got this week is the release date for Kobolds and Catacombs has been officially announced.
Called it.
It is a week from tomorrow on Thursday,
Right.
December the 7th.
So, and not that we're going to go big into esports and stuff, but this weekend is DreamHack. This will be the last major tournament in the current meta. And then the following weekend is the invitational down in the Thunder from Down Under, or whatever they want to call it, down in Australia. So you're going to see a major meta switch between those two tournaments. So I'd watch both of them.
Yeah, absolutely. And
So I'm really disappointed. By now, I'd hoped we'd heard a Thunder from Down Under, but that's all right by me. And nobody did it.
yeah.
I hate the term Thunder from Down Under. It drives me nuts. I don't know why.
I would have figured we'd at least heard the song, you know.
I did not preload it. I apologize. I have failed this city. So
You have. I'm disappointed in you, sir.
No, but Butch Jones failed the city. But that's a whole other topic.
Don't get me started. That's all I've done all weekend in the last 2 days. So don't even get me started.
Hey, if you want to talk about those topics, definitely go to patreon.com/Hero Power. Join up in our Discord because we're talking about all kinds of things, not just Hearthstone.
Yeah.
I couldn't even escape it. 3 states, 4 states, 5 states. How many states away I was?
Yeah. So if you have not done so already, consider this your reminder. You have until next Wednesday, maybe early morning hours of Thursday, to purchase your pre-order. 50 packs for $50. You're not going to get a better deal than that. So if you are interested, go get it while you can.
Customarily, the pre-order is until 11:59 Pacific Standard Time the night before release. So I expect they'll make an announcement probably next Monday that's the cutoff for the pre-order. If you haven't gotten it, go ahead and get it. $50, get you 50 packs and a really cool card back.
Absolutely. So, all right. Well, I guess that means we are ready to talk about some cards. So,
yeah,
let's do that right now. So we're going to do it the same way we did it last week. We're going to hop over here into the Hero Power Discord, into our new release channel. We've each kind of picked a few cards that we're going to talk about. I'm going to scroll back up to where we left off last week, which I believe is Zeroshio's first card, the Lone Champion. He's a 3-mana, 2/4 battle cry. If you control no other minions, gain Taunt and Divine Shield. So Zeroshio, why is this card on your list?
Okay, this card's on my list because obviously you see it and it's going to go staple in Paladin. It may be one of the cards that revives Paladin, because that's what Paladin's kind of missing. They have a lot of really heavy hitters, finishers, combo pieces, but they need some filler cards that kind of fill those gaps. Right now, it's done by the Murloc set, and the Murloc set kind of got a nerf, and it's not as strong as it used to be with the nerf of the War Leader, going from +2/+1 to just +2 attack. This card here is going to fill in that gap. Also, it's neutral, so it's going to go in a lot of three slots, 3-mana slots, and a lot of mid-rangey decks and tempo decks. Not to mention, this is going to be an auto pick for the 3-mana slot in Arena. I'm really excited for this card. I think it's one of the ones that's not being talked about the most. As you see in our community, a lot of them like this card. We have a couple people that are down on it, but I think it's a nice balanced card. A lot of times on turn 3, you're still developing the board. Your board has been cleared on 2, and this is going to slot in perfectly.
Okay, cool. All right, so
if I can hop right in real quick, do you remember for the past, well, I guess 100 or so episodes, I've been saying that the thing that has allowed aggro to control the meta in WoW or in Hearthstone for so long was the lack of a legitimate early game neutral card to neutralize it. This could be that card. When you think about Dragon Priest and the meta that it thrived in, it was mostly because of the 2/4 taunt that they could get on 2. It allowed them to stay in the game early and develop the tools they needed to wipe the board later. Yeah, this is a 2/4 for 3, but if you don't have anything else on the board, which is a hallmark of control decks, it gets taunt and divine shield, which basically means you're going to have to get rid of it twice. At that early in the game, you're going to have to kill it twice.
And I think this is better than Tar Creeper because not only do you get it on 3 and it defends the board with the divine shield, it can also retaliate by clearing those 3/2 minions. Where a Tar Creeper is only a 1/5, and on your turn, so it can't clear those minions. It's basically a stall tactic.
Yeah.
Stray, anything you want to add?
It's easy target for Priest though. They have 2 easy ways to remove it, but I like the card. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, every good card has a weakness, and I'm glad it has a weakness because that means it's not just going to be OP. If Priest is prevalent in the meta, it's going to be difficult to deal with having this be your 3 drop. But it's not much different than the Tar Creeper.
Right, right.
Yeah. All right. So next up is one of my picks, which is Grumble World Shaker. Now I know what you're thinking. Wait, what? This is an Avanti's pick, not a Versika pick. But
hey,
it is a Shaman card. It is the Shaman Legendary, 6 mana, 7/7, Battle Cry. Return your other minions to your hand. They now cost 1. So I think there are some pretty crazy combinations you can run with this. That you bounce stuff. You play some cards, you bounce them, you play this, you bounce them back, then replay them for 1 mana each. I think we could have a lot of fun with this card in Shaman, and I'm excited to maybe play some more Shaman in this new meta. Because I'll be honest, I've not played a lot of Shaman since Knights of the Frozen Throne came out. So I'm looking forward to it kind of making a resurgence. And as you can see, our community is pretty overwhelmingly positive on this card as well. So
the thing is Evolve Shaman has been the thing. And there's a lot of cards coming out that kind of is going to nerf Evolve Shaman. So I think Evolve Shaman is going to take a back seat. Now, the question on this card is when you play those cards, are they still marked as 1 mana cost? If so, it goes against Evolve. If they're just temporarily reduced to 1 while they're in your hand, then you can still run Evolve with this card. I'm kind of curious to see the interaction with it.
Well, if you go back to what happens when you evolve something that has been Barnesed out, it goes up from the casting cost of the card if it were played from your hand as normal. So I'd imagine that same effect still applies here.
The difference is Barnes doesn't reduce the mana cost. It only reduces the stats.
But it technically plays it for free.
Well, yeah, but it summons it. Where this one, they cost 1. Now, there are some cost modification cards that change the text to green or red or whatever color it is when it's reduced, and then when you play it, it reverts back to its original. And I expect that's the way it's going to be.
Right.
But I'm looking forward to seeing it to see if that actually happens.
The thing to remember, though, I think this said is there's a lot of. I would expect Overload to become more of a. I would expect Overload to come back into Shaman decks a little bit. It's sort of the trademark Shaman cards. You have cards that are powerful for their casting cost, but the overload that comes with them is the downside. So with this particular card, you're not going to be able to play a lot of things with overload. Even if they have impactful battle cries, you're not going to want to as much because those later turns is when you really need to be playing the more expensive cards in your deck anyway. And you don't want to play all into one turn and then just completely ignore turn 9. Now if you had to ignore turn 4 or 5, it's a little different. But if you're ignoring turn 9 or 10, you're in trouble. So,
Yeah.
Okay. Stray, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I wonder if it's gonna help the Stormcaller, that new card, with as far as like if you have a couple of your totems out and you put them back to your hand, they just cost 1. If you could help create a scenario where you have all 4 of the basic totems and you can summon the Wind Lord. I don't know if that's too much to ask.
That's really interesting.
That is a good point.
Because while it doesn't reduce their cost because they're already 1, because that's what they are when they summon, it allows you to put them in your hand, kind of like the Exodia Paladin with the Uther Death Knight, where you try to bounce some of those what do they call them, 4 horsemen into your hand, and play them with your hero power. Yeah, that's very interesting. I didn't think of that. That's a good point. That'll be really neat to see if that kind of becomes a big combo measure for that.
It might be too much to ask of keeping them in your hand long enough to draw into the Windshield or Stormcaller and then have them, and then I don't know. But I was just I love the Totem Shaman, and I remember playing it with a Thunderbluff Valiant, and stuff like that. I really love that whole deck. And then there's that Witch Doctor maybe, and just I'm already thinking of kind of a shell of cards that could work once these come in. Just plug in the few remaining cards and try it out. So
I think Primal Talisman, which we'll talk about later, will help with the combo you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. So next up on our list, and actually this isn't on our list, but I want to just mention it briefly, is Temperus. It's the Priest Legendary, 7 mana, 6/6 battle cry. Your opponent takes 2 turns, then you take 2 turns. So our community is overwhelmingly voted this down as not being real good, and it's one of those situations where you have to be where you think or know you're going to be able to survive the next 2 turns, because you're not going to get to go again for 2 turns, but then you get to take 2 turns back to back. So it really is an interesting mechanic. I think I don't think it'll see a lot of play. I'm one of the ones that downvoted it. We did have a couple who liked it, but Zeroshio, what are your thoughts?
The good part of this is if you build a deck around it, you might be able to pull some crazy stuff off. There's a lot of streamers and pro players are saying this might actually be an awesome card and great for some kind of like OTK style priest again. The downside is if you get this off of a Bone Drake or a Historian and your deck is not designed to play it, you're not going to want to play this. It's going to be a dead card in your hand.
All right, Versika?
I love it. I'm going to punish people with it.
Of course you are. I would expect nothing less.
And naturally, you're going to punish me at Green's Tavern once I've had too many beers in me, and I'm going to complain about it for months.
What about you, Stray?
I don't get it. I don't understand why you would allow your opponent to. How do you live with them taking 2 turns? That's too much. No way.
I'm a shaman player. I'm used to forfeiting my next turn.
Well, I do, and I'm going to talk about this a little more with another card coming up. That's one of my picks. There are some shenanigans that could possibly be had with this card.
Okay. All right. Well, let's actually talk about your next card, because it's next up, and that is King Togwaggle. He's a neutral legendary, 8 mana, 5/5. Battle cry: swap decks with your opponent. Give them a ransom spell to swap back. Now, the ransom spell is a 5 mana card to swap decks with your opponent. So,
and it goes in their hand.
Okay, and it goes in their hand. Okay, so go ahead.
That's important to note. So, at first I saw this and I was like, why would you do this? Because you're going to swap decks. Next turn, they're naturally just going to swap right back. Now, it does eat up 5 mana for them to do that. Also, if you're playing against somebody that has a inferior deck to you, they're like, sure, I'll keep it and beat you with your own game, you know. So there's a lot of negativity with this. If you see in our community, they're almost split down the middle. There are a few really interesting ways you can break his ransom mechanic. If you put this in a mill style deck that also takes advantage of putting cards in your opponent's hand, if they're at 10 cards in their hand, the ransom burns. So they can't swap back. So if you just so happen to have your deck, because you've been using oracles and other draw mechanics, down to just a couple cards or no cards at all, and swap decks with them with a handful of cards, they now have no cards left in their deck. And if you did this in Priest, then you could play, was it Temporus? Whatever that dragon is, and they have no cards, so who cares if they take 2 turns?
All right. Versika, thoughts?
This is a wait and see card for me. I'm the one that gave the neutral face.
Okay. All right. And Stray, your thoughts on King Togwaggle?
Well, if they don't right away, swap back, I could see you maybe just blowing their cards, just wasting all their stuff. Especially if you're trying to target the machine gun priest, and they have all those one cost cards. Maybe just healing your things, and just trashing cards just to get rid of stuff. So then when they get back, they don't have as many cards, and they don't have the cheap ones that they really rely on to use over and over again and shoot you down real quick. But I just don't know if that's going to work, because so you play this card, all right, and then you swap decks, but you only have, depending on what turn you played on, you don't have a whole lot of mana left to do anything with. And then they're gonna, if they are that type of priest, I'm pretty sure they're gonna want their hand back quickly.
Well,
and I mean, they're gonna play the card. It's gonna hurt their feelings.
Well, I got a solution for that. If you play King Togwaggle, you have 2 mana left. That's just enough mana for Lore Walker Cho. Now, if they cast a ransom, you get a copy of it.
Oh.
You just keep taking it back and forth.
Yeah, if they
begin.
use ransom, you ransom, because it swaps to decks, not the hands.
Right.
I'm telling you, this card's going to be so much fun. It might not be in the tournament scene. It might not be competitive on the ladder, but it's going to be so much fun.
I misunderstood that. I was thinking you got the hand as well, but I see now it specifically says just the deck.
Just the deck. Yep.
All right.
I like it.
Ink says if you play Togwaggle and Priest, you're just an a-hole. So.
Well, I'll be that a-hole.
All right. So moving on to our next card. Scroll down a little bit here. It is going to be my next choice, which is the Arcane Tyrant. He's a neutral epic, 5 mana, 4/4, costs 0 if you've cast a spell that costs 5 or more mana this turn. He is an elemental. So we've seen quite a bit of elemental synergy after the previous release. And this could, I feel like there's enough 5 mana spells out there that this could really be a great late turn tempo 0 mana 4/4. So Zeroshio, what are your thoughts?
You thought you hated Firelands Portal before.
Oh,
what
man.
if Firelands Portal gave you 2 5 mana minions? That's the obvious spot for this card. Obviously, there's other places you could put this card at. It has some decent synergy with Warlock. If you're twisting Nether, then now you get a 4/4 minion on the board right after you're twisting Nether, instead of resorting to using 2 mana to develop the board. You could possibly, have a 2 mana minion as well as an Arcane Tyrant or 2. There's some potential here for a lot of different caster classes. Your Warlock, your Priest, your Mage. I've heard a lot of people say it's going to be really good in Arena. But I don't draft enough spells in Arena to justify picking this in Arena. Plus, it's an epic. So I'm really not worried about it in Arena. But we'll just have to see. Obviously, the community really loves this card. We got 10 thumbs up. People came out of the closet to vote for this card.
Yeah.
It's a 4/4.
Okay.
For 0 mana.
Well, hopefully for 0 mana, but it's a 4/4. It's a neutral
Solid.
4/4 that is free if you cast something over 5. I think late game in a priest-dominated meta, which I would say this is still a priest-dominated meta, I think this thing is money in the bank.
Because if you guys haven't heard, priests have trouble dealing with 4 attack minions.
Yep.
Yeah. Apex Predator in chat says, what about Ultimate Infestation into Arcane Tyrant? You know, there's
I was okay.
all kinds.
Okay, I was
of,
trying to keep this a positive, positive show, Apex. You know, I wasn't going to bring the negativity in here, but if you have to, yes.
Yeah.
All
All
right.
right.
Use Ultimate Infestation.
Straydog, what are your thoughts on Arcane Tyrant?
I like it. What's the effect? What would it do for the Paladin card, Forbidden Healing? What would it, as long as you use it at the 5 or higher?
Forbidden Healing is a 0 cost. It just utilizes all your mana. It's still 0 cost. So for any of the forbidden spells, it would not activate.
Right.
We don't have to worry about that after March anyway.
Yeah, and Inked in chat brought up a good question. He said, how would this work with Solia? Because when Solia comes into play, if you have no duplicates, the next spell you cast is free, but it still goes off the casting cost of the spell. So, like, if you played Pyroblast for free, you could then play Arcane Tyrant for free.
Yeah.
Which is weird because some other similar type effects, it doesn't, it's not consistent, but I'm hoping that Blizzard fixes all those and it kind of lines things up with the rulings with that. Mainly it's been with minions, where if you got a minion reduced to 0, it didn't qualify off the costs. But hopefully they get all that cleaned up. I'm sure they have already.
Yeah.
So I know that the next card down on our list isn't the next card on the list in Discord, but can we go ahead and talk about that next card? Nope, up a little bit more. Up. The one with Raynad's picture on it. Come on.
Oh, that one.
Oh, yeah. You passed it.
Speaking of priest.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right underneath
Psychic
Arcane Tyrant.
Scream.
Yes.
So let's talk a
nice
about
close-up.
Psychic Scream. You passed
You gotta
it.
get nice close up of Raynad right there.
All right, go ahead, Versika.
Can we just all stop for a minute and talk about how amazingly disgusting this card is going to be?
Yes.
I mean,
especially when you get a 4/4 right after it.
Yeah, it's. Oh man.
This
This
is ridiculous.
For our audio listeners, of course, it's a 7 mana priest spell, Psychic Scream. Shuffle all minions into your opponent's deck. Now, there's been a lot of arguing on Reddit and whatnot. It says all minions.
Yes.
It means all in play. Not all in your decks, and not all minions in your collection. None of that craziness. It just means all minions in play. Now, that's all your minions and your opponent's minions get shuffled into your opponent's deck.
That's correct.
Sounds bad, but believe me,
not. It's
Priest
not
doesn't
bad.
have a reliable board clear. Also, it acts as Entomb, so no death rattles go off. It gets past all death rattles, divine shields, all that stuff, and just shuffles them into their deck. So if they're playing a one-of deck and they all of a sudden get duplicates, well, those one-of effects don't go off. If they're playing Keleseth and you shuffle in 2 mana minions, they don't go. Keleseth doesn't go off, or any of the princes for that matter. I think this is this is an amazing card, and it's going to be so broken.
All right, Straydog, thoughts on Psychic Scream?
Well, first of all, when you said it, the one that looks like Raynad, is it just me, or does the card Renounce Darkness not look like Raynad standing there looking up? Anyways, that's what I was thinking about. I couldn't figure out what you were talking about. But the card, it's just not fair. They've already got other cards that do. I have enough trouble as it is with worrying about. See, I play Wilds a pretty good bit. I've got to worry about Light Bombs and Dragonfire Potions and combos. I don't need something else. I don't. That's just gonna make my life hard.
The bad news is you're gonna get something else, and that's gonna be a bunch of minions in your deck that you don't.
That's very true. So, all right.
So our community loves that card, by the way.
Yes, they do.
Very resounding positives, thumbs ups and hearts.
Yeah. All right, so the next card is the last card that Zeroshio chose, and that is Call to Arms. It's a 4-mana Paladin spell. It's an epic. Recruit 3 minions that cost 2 or less. Again, our community overwhelmingly positive on this card. Zeroshio, tell us why.
Okay, so this is one of the best cards in the set that's been released so far. And the reason is, one of the problems with Paladin is they haven't been completely defined. Now, one of the big definitions that Team 5 has tried to put on Paladin is Divine Shield and Divine Shield manipulation. The problem with it is it doesn't work if you're just putting out one Divine Shield minion after one Divine Shield minion, and most of the cost of Divine Shield minions are hard to couple together when you've been using them from turn 1 all the way up. You get to turn 6 and you're not going to have 2/1 cost to 2 cost and Divine Shield minions in your hand. You've already used them at the beginning of your game to try to sustain that tempo. So for that reason, it's easy for them just to pick those Divine Shields off. If Boulevard gets a buff, it's just 1. If that unplayable 4-mana weapon gets a buff, it's just 1. It's not a big deal. Also, Blood Knight. Blood Knight would be great if those minions could keep their Divine Shield. You could build a deck in a way that this grabs nothing but Divine Shield minions. And I think that's going to bring Divine Shield Paladin back out of the woodwork. And it's set at a very reasonable 4-mana premium.
Okay. All right. Versika, thoughts?
I upvoted it, or not upvoted it. I gave it a thumbs up. I think it's going to be good in, I would say about half of the Paladin decks out there. I'd say almost all of them will try to use it, but I think it will be effective in about half of them.
Okay.
Yeah, and another thing on it is, in the current incarnation of Paladin, where they use a lot of low-cost Murlocs, the Murlocs are only really effective when they flood the board. This is going to flood the board with a lot of really solid Murlocs.
Okay, cool. Straydog, thoughts?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. He was along the same lines with, I was thinking Divine Shield. Really, I was thinking stuff that doesn't have the battle cry. And I went to the Divine Shield because you could try to follow it up with a Rallying Blade. If they don't get all of the Divine Shields popped, if they just get one of them, you've got a nice buff. But I was curious about how it recruits them from the deck. Does it count as being summoned?
Yes.
So the Sword of Justice, if it was equipped on 3 and then you went into turn 4, they would all get the buffs, right?
Correct.
That is correct. Yeah.
And then you could come up after that next turn, whatever's not popped, hit it with that the Rallying Blood. I mean, you could build this deck pretty easily. I like it. It's pretty solid.
It's also could fall in line with a decent budget style deck because there's some really good Argent Squire budget minions that you can put in here. And what I really want to stress is a lot of people are really getting down on Recruit. And one of the main reasons are like, oh, it's random. It's another random effect. This is not the same as summoning a random minion of a certain cost. It's taking the minions from your deck so you can control what type or which minions come into play by building your deck in a certain way, which also promotes good deck building practices.
Yes, I agree with that 100%. So, all right.
Deck building, what's that?
Who builds decks anymore? I want to touch on.
Wait, hold on. Oh, go ahead. If you're touching in this card, we're good.
Yeah, I want to touch on Lanessa Sunsorrow. She's the Paladin Legendary. She's a 7-mana 1/1 with a battle cry. Cast each spell you cast on your minions this game on this one. Now, the important thing to mention is this game. So, any buffs or other spells that you've cast on anything prior to her coming into play will be recast on her when she comes into play. So, Zeroshio, you're our resident Paladin player. What are your thoughts on Lanissa?
So, I was the one that posted this, so I put all the 4 standard emojis on there, and so I couldn't vote. My thing is I wanted to switch my vote so many times, from listening to other streamers and just thinking about myself. The one thing that I was excited about is if you built your deck in a way and you paced out when you cast your spells, you can kind of predict and plan for Lanessa to have a certain stat board. However, it's been clarified that the spells that Lanessa gets, she will get everything cast on that you cast on your minions, but she will get them in a random order. So if you do a Dino Size followed by a Blessing of Kings, she might get the Blessing of Kings first, then the Dino Size, which lowers the value of this minion. I really want them to put out a solid Paladin Legendary that's not a Bolvar, and they did. But I think the second Bolvar is better than her, to be honest. And I don't like that card either. I guess it's a lot to ask for when we really do have the best class Legendary in the game in Tyrion Fordring. So I'm resigning the fact that Paladin's just going to have horrible Legendaries.
All right, Versika.
Do you remember when I was talking about how I thought the Paladin quest was going to be broken and how it wouldn't necessarily be broken in this expansion, but that at some point there's a reason that it was going to be broken?
I knew you were going to say this.
Yeah. This will break it. So I'm excited to see where it goes. Like, you know, when I made that statement, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to play against Paladin constantly. It's another, here comes Secret Paladin again, because I knew it wasn't going to happen in Agoro, and I figured it probably wouldn't happen in Knights of the Frozen Throne. Although I was a little surprised that Knights of the Frozen Throne wasn't a little more focused on Paladin, considering where the Lich King came from.
Arthas.
Right. So I'm like, I was a little surprised it wasn't more Paladin focused, but this set feels like Paladin got some nice, solid love, I guess, in places where it was really hurting. And while Tyrion is a great legendary, you know when he's coming down. It doesn't take a brain surgeon to figure out when Tyrion is going to hit the board. You have to account for this one from turn 7 up. If they've played it right, and they're playing the kind of deck that I've kind of got rolling around in my head right, and I know I can't be the only one thinking of this. When she comes down, she is going to be crazy hard to get rid of. And I think she's going to be super impactful. If they pair her with the quest, because it says you cast this on your minion, or each spell you cast on your minions this game, on this one, it specifically spells out cast. Mm-hmm. So every spell that you have cast is going to get cast again. So it makes it so much easier to hit that quest goal at a time in the game where it's going to be super impactful. Now, can you take control Paladin that far? Because so far no one's really been able to get control Paladin to stick. I think the exit of Whispers of the Old Gods.
I have.
Well, I mean, consistently. You have. But you've been playing it. It's been the less desirable of the palette. I think with Whispers going out and with Spike Ridge Steed being as good as it is, I think she will be more impactful than people are saying.
I will say this real quick. There is one place I'm really excited to see her in one deck. I'm really excited to see her in. That's Evolved Shaman.
We'll see. Straydog, thoughts?
So it doesn't really ask of anything other than play 2 cards you already use. Right? We use Spike Ridge Steed, and you play the Blessing of Kings, right?
Yeah.
Those are cards that are common. Just put them both in the same deck, and then make sure you get. You would just need what? 1 king and 1 Spike Ridge Steed to go off, and you got value, or would you need more?
Oh no, one and one, and you have tremendous value.
Okay,
but
so,
if you cast 2, both of them will go on there.
Right. So I mean, this seems great because, you've got two things that are bait for your sheep, your polymorph or your hex. If they haven't already used one earlier, which if you can put them in this position where they have to use one, then the Tyrion's going to walk or the other one's going to walk and it's going to be fine. You're going to have the game set. I do have a question. I know I keep asking all these questions and they're kind of wild gameplay questions, but what's the interaction with Avenge, the Secret, or a Competitive Spirit? They're not actually cast on them. I mean, you don't do it, but will it still count?
No, it has to be cast on a minion.
Yep. Now, it does bring up a point, though. The spell Adaptation, the 1-mana Paladin spell that adapts, that evolves your minion, that does count and can get you some of the more fringe things like Liquid Membrane that allows your minion not to be targeted by spells. That's, to me,
Wind Fury.
Or Wind Fury, or Stealth. These are things that allow for survivability for her. Of course, there's not any way to give her charge via a spell, but I think doing the Stealth or the Liquid Membrane is just as good.
So I have a question. Say you cast the spells, on your minions, and then you play her, and the spells are all cast again. Does that count towards our Lord and Savior Yogg?
Yes.
Yay!
I don't. I would say yes, but there hasn't been any. Disguised Toast hasn't told us yet. I guess is what he's going to be the first one to figure that out and decide and test it and properly decide if that's how the interaction goes. Interactions act weird sometimes when the spell isn't coming from your hand.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to see. I would think so, and that would be good.
All right. So our next card is one of Rasika's first picks. It is a Shaman Epic, 5-mana, 5/5, the Windshear Stormcaller. Battle Cry: if you control all 4 basic totems, summon Alakir the Windlord. All right, Versika, take it away.
Well, the reason I like this card is pressure. One of the things that I feel is sort of lukewarm about Shaman is, do I want to clear that totem?
Mm-hmm.
There's so many different ways to get multiple totems on the board now that now I would even say people pretty much don't use Farsight as much as I do, so you don't have to worry about it as much. But turn 5 and up, you have to make sure there is no way they're getting all 4 totems on their turn, which pretty much means they can only have 1 totem on the board. At that point, you're going to have to be, if you don't clear those totems, you're going to have to play like you're going to have to account for Alakir the next turn. And with Bloodlust being prominent again, I mean, you could see Stoneclaw. What am I trying to think of here?
Stone Call Totem, the taunt totem?
No. It's been so long since I played it, I don't even...
Flame Tongue?
No, the spell that we used to cast on Doomhammer that was 1 for +3/+0.
Oh!
Rock
Stone...
Rock Biter.
Rock Biter weapon,
Rock
yeah.
Biter. Rock Biter.
So, yeah. So, I mean, now you have to start thinking of Alakir, and Alakir's not been in the meta in a while, but now you got to think about Alakir on turn 6 and how you're going to deal with it. I think this adds mid-game pressure, and a lot of people are going to say I'm overreaching here, but I play a lot of Shaman. I feel really good about Shaman in the early game, and I feel really good about Shaman in the late game. In the middle, in that 4, 5, and 6 turn, Shaman, it's sort of like the soft underbelly of Shaman. It's where you kind of get your advantage back, but it's because Shaman's not putting out threats turn after turn after turn. With Thing from Below leaving the meta in March, you needed that solid mid-game body to put out. 5 for 5/5, the vanilla stats line up. If you get to put out Alakir with him, that's Alakir and a 5/5 in the same turn on turn 5. That is brutal. Absolutely brutal. I think this could be one of those cards that just makes people concede on turn 6.
Okay.
So I'm going to steal Straydog's thunder real quick. If you use Grumble World Shaker to find a way to get all 4 individual totems in your hand, they're all 1 cost.
Mm-hmm.
On turn 9, you will have this minion, 4 totems, and Alakir.
But there's an easier way to do that, and if you want to go ahead and move on to the next card on my list, segue.
Primal Talismans. 3
There
mana.
you go.
Give your minions Death Rattle, summon a random basic totem.
Okay, so this is kind of where this starts to get kind of quirky. If you're waiting towards the end of the game to kind of pull off that totem, this gives you a second way to do it. The thing that I like about this card right here is Shamans tend to be more board centric. They focus on going wide on the board and controlling the board with favorable trades. You cast this on a turn before you trade for board presence. You trade for board presence, the death rattles go off, then you play the Wind Shear Stormcaller. And then you get a charging Alakir on top of what you just traded. You get a 5/5 on the board, and you've got all your totems. It's going to be pretty brutal.
So what's that 7 mana came out of Ngoro that lets you do healing, or you do damage, or you can fill the board with 1/1 elementals?
Oh, the legendary.
Yes.
The legendary, yeah. I don't remember his name right now. But yeah, I know what you're talking about.
He's 7 mana. If you cast played an elemental the turn before, you could fill the board up with him and 6 1/1
Earth
elementals.
Calamos.
Yeah.
You still have
Lord.
Calamos. Yeah.
You still have 3 mana on turn 10 to then put Primal Talisman on.
Yep. But you don't have anything to follow it up with.
Well, not that turn. But if they clear the board,
turn. Yeah.
if they clear the board, and of your 7 minions, a mixed match of them are totems.
Yep.
And they're all 4 totems.
Yep. And see, this is, Straydog brought up Wicked Witch Doctor earlier. For a few months, we're going to get to see Wicked Witch Doctor actually play a little bit in Standard. So I'm going to be really excited to see how that goes. So I like where they're going with Totem Shaman, and I definitely like it better than them trying to force Murlocs down our throat. So
Okay. All right.
Nobody wants a Murloc down their throat.
So, Straydog, you got anything else you want to add about the Windshear Stormcaller or the Primal Talismans?
Not really. I do like those cards a whole lot, but I feel like it kind of helps Tuskar Totemic out in Wild, because it does it was changed to a basic totem,
Yeah.
So now everyone's kind of treating.
Now it's a buff.
Yeah. So you have to treat the totems again like you always treat the Silverhand recruits. You're just nervous about any turn to leave one of them alive. So I remember the time when you used to just clear all the totems. Now I kind of feel like you can just clear that spell totem and kind of be okay. So I like it.
Yeah.
I think it's great. I'm ready to play some
As you
more
can
shaman.
see, our community is pretty up on these cards as well. They really like them. So, all right, that brings us to our next card, which is also Versika's pick. 1 mana, Unstable Evolution. It is a epic shaman spell. Transform a friendly minion into one that costs 1 more. Repeatable this turn. So, go ahead, Versika.
So with Evolve going out, this is going to be something that you can use in conjunction with the Thrall Death Knight. So it's kind of quirky. My mind went to Lotus Agents right off the bat.
Oh, okay.
Do you know how many times on Lotus Agents I've pulled out Van Cleef? Edwin Van Cleef. So
Couldn't guess. Probably a lot.
it's a lot. I get Edwin Van Cleef probably out of 10 times I play Lotus Agents and Shaman, I get Edwin Van Cleef probably 5 of those. So I like that you can. I mean, if you've played Shaman enough, there are turns when you're so overloaded that there's not a lot you can do. This gives you something you can do in those overloaded turns to help you manage the board state a little bit more as well. You can trade in a minion and evolve it afterwards. And then you can trade in another minion and evolve that one afterwards. And let's say that you're on turn 7 and you're overloaded for 5. You can at least Unstable Evolution twice that turn. And it helps with your board clears in that way too. I think it's going to be a little more versatile than Evolve. Mm-hmm. It's not going to have as wide a reaching effect, but I think that more targeted precision is something that Shaman needs. It's something that it's lacking. So I like the possibilities of this card. I don't think it's going to be that cannonball effect that we're used to seeing with Evolve. I think it's going to take a little more ingenuity, a little more imagination, and I think you're going to have to be patient with the card, know when you're going to get the most use out of it. So,
well, this is going to be great for those times that you would normally evolve into a Doomsayer, or that 6 mana 1/1 that summons a 6/6 as a battle cry, or maybe Linessa. It's like you get a do-over. You evolve that minion expecting to get an upgrade. You don't do it again.
Yeah, exactly. And like I was saying earlier, if you do get something like a like a Van Cleef, or what is it, Botweed, I think is the other one.
Yeah.
You get Shaman doesn't really have a lot of one casting cost spells that you can float those out, and it kind of adds a little bit of fun to it.
All right, so I just want to put that our community member Matt at Arms created a flow chart this week for exactly how this card will work if you have 10 mana available and a Snow Flipper Penguin on the board. Let me show you. It works like this. You have a Snow Flipper Penguin, you play this card. You're going to get N'Zoth's First Mate. Then you play it again to get Grime Street Informant. Then you play it again to get Blubber Baron. Then you play it again to get Faceless Shambler because it's awful. Then you play it again to get Bomb Squad, Big Time Racketeer, because RNG hates us all. So on and so forth until, with your 10th mana, you end up with a 6/6 with no battle cry.
Cthulhu.
And as Matt at Arms calls this, welcome to the evolution of fail.
Yeah. I think this was a play on someone else did one that was all the charge minions. And
It was how to do 40 damage in one turn.
40 damage in one turn on turn 10.
That was Ben Hearthstone.
I like this one better. So. This is more realistic, especially if you're in our Discord and your name is Ringo.
Yes. All right. So moving on.
There you go.
I want to talk about this. This card's not in our list, but I want to talk about it for a second. This is a mage rare, which I think is quite possibly one of the strongest cards I've seen out of this set so far. It's a 4-mana 4/5 with a battle cry. If you're holding any cards that didn't start in your deck, reduce their cost by 2. This is the Leyline Manipulator. It's an elemental, and I just think this card is ridiculously strong. We've seen a lot of elemental mage.
Disguised Toast is already figuring out ways to break this, and if people haven't watched Disguised Toast, he's known to be a memer. He's known to break stuff or figure out how to fix stuff. But what he's also lesser known as is an absolutely excellent Quest Mage player.
Yes. The
man pilots Quest Mage better than anybody I've ever seen. He actually did some, I believe he did some tutorials with Pathra, where he showed Pathra how to play Quest Mage, and he was making some lines. I'm like, why would you do that? And it just works out.
It worked out. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
He is amazing, and if he says this card is going to break Quest Mage, it's going to break Quest Mage.
Yeah. Forsica, thoughts?
I agree with all of that. I think it's once again, you talk about the mid game, and we were talking about Shaman, it being the weak underbelly of Shaman. It's also the same for Mage. The mid game for Mage is weak when it comes to minions, and I think that this shores up the minion. It definitely gives you much greater versatility with the rune. The rune already, when we play it, it reduces the cost by 2. But a lot of times we're reluctant to pick those more expensive spells because we won't see that payoff until later. But if you know that Manipulator is coming in, who doesn't want a Pyroblast for 6?
Yep. Straydog.
On that same note, one lesser noted card in that deck is Simulacrum, which a lot of people are teching out, and Disguised Toast refuses to take it out of his deck. If Simulacrum copies a Sorcerer's Apprentice, she didn't start in your deck. This isn't just spells, these are cards. So those Sorcerer's Apprentices would automatically go to 0 cost.
Okay.
If they were created by Simulacrum.
Yeah. Straydog?
Yeah, it doesn't specify spells, it says cards, so.
Now, Straydog.
All right. This is a really solid card. I like it, but will it not also work in an elemental mage deck? With you've already got. There's another card too. I don't know if y'all going to talk about it. That Arcane Artificer or whatever.
Arcane
Artificer,
that's
it. So you got this card. You can use spells to gain armor. You've got this card, the Leyline Manipulator, to reduce the spells, so you can play more per turn to remove or burn face or whatever. Then you've got the one where we talked about earlier, where you can get another minion based on your spell as long as it's above 5 cost. This is pretty cool. This is going to be a new way to play it, where you're just throwing out cheap spells and gaining a bunch of armor and just going crazy. I don't know. I like it.
Yeah. All right. So the next card on our list is one of my picks, and it is the Reckless Flurry. It is a warrior epic 3-mana spell. Spend all of your armor. Deal that much damage to all minions. So there is a lot of armor gain coming in this set. And this is a 3-mana board clear, but you purge all of your armor that you've built. I like this card a lot. It's kind of like that. It's like kind of like having that big red button on your desk when you need to just reset. You just smash it and everything resets. So I really like this. I think we could be, and there's been a lot of talk of this talk in our Discord general discussion channel, but could we be seeing the resurgence of Control Warrior?
Yes, and this
Absolutely.
is what I'm really excited about. I was a huge not just by my size, but I love playing Control Warrior. Of my 500 wins to get the Golden Warrior, 450 of those were off Control Warrior. It's a style I've loved. It's my second favorite control style deck next to Control Paladin, but it's just had no gas. This is gas. This is actually a better than Brawl, at a lower cost, providing that you have the armor. But if you couple it with other armor generating spells and effects, it's about the same cost as a Brawl, except you don't just clear all minions but one. You do a set amount of damage, in a lot of cases around 5, to the entire board. Now that does include your minions, but in a lot of those Control Warrior decks, your minions have death rattles. Your minions have different effects that are going to generate more armor if they get hit with damage. Are going to draw you cards. So damaging your minions is not a negative in Warrior. I'm really excited for this card.
Versika?
This card is it's so brutal. You combine it with the 2 Smiths, and I mean, it's going to be brutal. I love it. I think it's going to be, and out of all the, what are they? I don't even remember what they're called. The Spellstone style stuff. The shield in Warrior is one of only 2 that I really like. So the unidentified shield.
Yeah.
So you combine things like unidentified shield with this, and in a quest warrior style Control Warrior, I think it's going to be really solid, hard to beat. I think this card will see a place in a Control Warrior style deck that is how in tournament play, you've got 3 decks, and you've got the one that everyone expects to be banned, which is usually the most powerful deck at that time in the meta, and then you've got that one deck that everybody's bringing, that one solid deck that everyone thinks they've got that 50-50 shot of getting a win with. And I think this style of Control Warrior is going to absolutely take Pirate Warrior's place in that slot.
Cool.
If you want to, before we go a little further, if you want to scroll down just a mic, Dry Whisker Armorer is a 2-mana 2/2 minion with a battle cry. For each enemy minion, gain 2 armor. One of the biggest weaknesses of Control Warrior is dealing with those aggro decks by turn 5. Once you get to 5, if they've rushed you down well enough, you haven't been able to generate armor fast enough, you're dead in the water. If you can generate the armor but not deal with the board, you're dead in the water. But with this minion, you could throw him out, get 2 armor for all of the minions that they put out. Maybe they got 4, 6 wide, and then immediately do Reckless Flurry and clear all those minions. So that's 5 mana in 2 cards, mind you. That's better than a Brawl. So this could actually Reckless Flurry and combination of Dry Whisker Armor as well as some other armor generation spells could make it so you don't even need Brawl in your deck.
Okay. Straydog, thoughts?
I got a thought. Priest can suck it. How about that? Can I say that? Hey, you want to wait? You want to wait till turn 6 or turn 7 to clear the board? I can do it at 3, and my warrior is only at 200 wins, so I'm a long ways. So bring it on. I'll do that. I'll play this deck all day, and maybe I can get a golden warrior class portrait as well.
Nice. All right, that brings us to our last card. This is one of Versika's picks, the Elven Minstrel. 4 mana,
which is also the newest one.
Yes,
it just was released right before show.
6 o'clock this afternoon. So it is a rogue rare, 4 mana, 3/2 minion combo. Draw 2 minions from your deck. All right, Versika, go ahead.
Well, I mean, what is early game rogues' Achilles heel? Card draw. The late game, you have to pair it with auctioneer. Early game is really easy to run out of stuff. You're dealing with the board, you're trying to survive, and then suddenly you're down to 2 cards, and you're just hoping that you draw a minion out of it. I know a lot of my rogue decks are half and half, so I'm like, turn 4, I'm like hoping to draw a minion, and it's like you draw a great spell, and it's like, it just feels bad when you draw that awesome spell when you really wanted to draw that 3/3 SI agent. So I think this couples well with getting some of the minions that you really need. If you're, once again, goes back to deck building, if you are choosy about the minions that you put in your deck, you can maximize the value of this card by making sure the 2 minions that you pull are value minions. And I think that this is going to be a staple in, I'm going to make it a staple in my Valyria Tempo Rogue. So.
All right, Zerotia.
Malygos Rogue.
All right.
That's it. That's all I got.
Straydog, thoughts?
I think I've played like 2 games with Rogue ever, so I don't really know. I guess drawing 2 minions is cool on turn 4, but it's got 2 health. Is that not a problem on turn 4?
You're
Not
really
so much
yeah. It's not really as big an issue because chances are one of the spells you used to combo took care of one of the minions anyway.
Okay. All right. Okay. I got you.
So, all right. Well, that's going to do it for all of the cards released between last week and this week. And
Avantis,
yes.
can I just throw one single card in there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do we have time for that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So I know y'all are trying to go big with all these board removal cards and everything, and you're dancing around my man Gul'dan, okay? Nobody's talking about these cards. What about the Kobold Librarian? Is a 1-minute 2/1? So you get to draw a card. I mean, you get to use your hero power for free, right? You draw a card and deal the damage, and you just drop in the 1-drop, right?
Mm-hmm.
Turn 1 hero power with a 2/1 on the board.
What is wrong with that? I mean, I don't need a 7 mana minion to please me. I'm gonna throw that in there, and look, you can complete if you get the lesser spellstone in there with your mulligan by accident, and you play this, you're halfway there. I mean, I love that card. It's awesome. I just want to throw that in.
Nice. Yeah, that is a good point. The Kobold Librarian is a good card. I like it.
He got
Let
one
me
heart.
just-
What? Who did?
Let me just go ahead and put that smork
He
icon
got 1
beside
heart.
that. There
He
you
got
go.
6 thumbs up though. He got 6 thumbs
All
up.
right. Okay.
Yeah. And he got
Hold on.
books because he's a librarian.
Okay.
And,
From-
hold on.
And Ringo did say that the book
There you go.
was art for him. A smork.
Yeah. So,
Your own face.
Yes.
yeah.
Love it.
All right. So that's going to do it for the card discussion this week. Our Tavern Brawl this week is brand new. It's called The Void Singularity. Beyond the Void's event horizon, all your minions become crushed into a single powerful entity of light. Build a deck and sacrifice your minions to the Void. So, when I first saw this, I had no clue what it meant. Just from the description,
Me
I had
neither.
no idea. So I went in and built a kind of token druid deck because I needed to win with druid anyway. And so I had a bunch of little low-cost minions that I started playing. I'm going to admit, first turn, coin into Keleseth. In turn, the ability goes off. He turns into a 2/2 void minion. I'm like, wait, what? I don't understand. And then next turn, I played 2 minions. They all merged into one. I'm like, okay, this makes sense. Turn 5, I cast Living Mana with my minion already on the board. The 5/2/2s come out, die. My minion gets +10/+10, and I get all my mana back, and I'm just like, woo! My opponent conceded next turn. So, all right. Have you guys had a chance to play this yet, Zeroshio?
I have. I got my warrior quest done. At first, I didn't know what to do, so I actually did the deck helper and just picked everything on the left and played it that way, and I won because I got a big old minion on turn 4, and they conceded. Okay. So then I built a deck with things like the humongous Razor Leaf and was a Silent Watcher.
Oh, Ancient Watcher?
Ancient Watcher.
Ancient Watcher that are low-cost minions with bad drawbacks that have lots of stats. Well, the text doesn't matter.
Exactly.
I also threw in Death Rattles in there, and those Death Rattles create other minions, which also get melded. It was amazing. It was amazing. I had a lot of fun. The big thing is you get, for your win with this, you get a Kobolds and Catacombs pack.
Yes. So, Straydog, did you get a chance to play it?
I did, and I don't even know what happened, really. Honestly, I was seeing a guy on Twitter. Is the guy that does the Wild Things infographic. I don't know if y'all seen those. Nate Wolf or something like that. So he had said that Death Rattles were good. So I just got the priest through the quest in there, loaded up with just Death Rattles. First one on turn 4, I didn't get to play anything until turn 4, and I put down the Infested Tauren, and I don't even know what happened. It was just a couple of seconds, and all of a sudden I have a 6/8 minion on the board, and the Warlock just conceded. So I don't even know.
Okay. Versika?
I haven't got a chance to play it yet. I actually missed last week's, so it was my first Tavern Brawl that I actually never even logged into because I was out of town for most of it, and our internet was spotty. So
okay, well this week's deck, like I said, we're gonna play a game in Wild, and I'm gonna run down this list pretty quickly so that we can actually get over and start playing some. We've run a little long this week, but this is a Wild Dude Paladin deck, and it runs 2 Lost in the Jungle.
Wait. What's the name of the deck?
Dude, where's my buff?
Where's your buff, dude?
Dude, where's my buff?
Where's your buff, dude?
Dude, no, we could go all night.
Versika, can you please stop him?
Yeah. So, all right.
One of the things that I've learned is that you cannot stop them. You can only hope to contain them.
All right. So you've got 2 Lost in the Jungle, 1 Patches the Pirate, 2 Righteous Protectors, 2 South Sea Deckhands, 1 Equality, 2 Knife Jugglers, 2 Shielded Mini-Bots, 1 Divine Favor, 2 Muster for Battle, 2 Rallying Blade, 2 Steward of Darkshire, Wicker Flame Burn Bristle, 1 Blessing of Kings, 2 Corpse Takers, 2 Light Fused Stegodon, 1 Lotheb, 2 Quartermasters, Sunkeeper Tareem, and 1 Vine Cleaver. So it's all about filling the board with dudes, buffing them up real big with your Quartermasters, your Light Fused Stegodons, and just going face. So it's a lot of fun if you're looking for something to play in Wild. So we're going to flip over and check that out here in just a second. Straydog, if people want to hear more from you, where can they find you on the interwebs?
Twitter, Straydog HS. Instagram, Straydog HS. That's more of a personal account, but it's cool if you want to follow me on there. And I am recently started a YouTube channel. It's Game On. I'm trying to figure out how to work all this editing and stuff, but it's for Hearthstone people like me who started up and have no idea how to do any type of card play. I just lay it all out there. I'm running through the tutorial right now. I've got 2 parts. I'm fixing to put the 3rd part up, and I mean I do everything, and the description has every technical term I use broke down for them. So that'll be up there, and if you want to, I'm readily available all over the place if they want to ask me any questions about this lower level stuff that they won't want to bother y'all with because y'all are kind of professionals. So down here in the rank 10, area, I can help them out and watch those videos that should help them get a grasp of how the game works.
Okay, awesome. You're muted, Zeroshio.
Also, Straydog's gonna be writing up a blog going into more detail of what we're doing on the play portion this afternoon. They'll have more of a step-by-steps in his ideologies on his thought process. That should be up on heropowerhs.com here probably within the next week.
Yes.
Yeah. So, all right, guys. So, as we always do, if you are joining us on Twitch or YouTube, please stay tuned for the live play portion of our show. If you are listening via our audio podcast, we'd like to thank you for joining us. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter at HeroPower_cast. And you can find all of our past episodes on YouTube at youtube.com/ECMMOgamers or on our website at HeroPowerHS.com. If you enjoy the show, you'd like to support and improve it, or if you would like to join our Patreon, if you'd like to join our Discord, which is Patreon members only, you can do that at patreon.com/HeroPower. We'll see you all again next week.
And don't forget to use your hero power.
All right, gentlemen. I guess I'm going to drive since I have this deck built. If you guys want to go ahead and spectate once I get into a match. I am playing at rank 9 in Wild with this deck, so we will have a little fun with it. It sounds like I'm right in Straydog's wheelhouse for helping me out.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so I'm spectating you.
Correct.
Okay, Avantes.
I am currently finding an opponent.
I don't see
Okay,
it.
There we go.
All right.
Did you defriend me? Okay, there we go.
Shh! Don't tell Versika.
Denied.
All right, so why don't you go ahead and start walking us through your system here, Straydog? Do you have anything for the mulligan phase?
I'm trying to get in the game now. The mulligan phase you always want to watch. What I try to do is watch all the mulligan cards, where they're at, and watch the first 4 turns. I want to keep up with what they're hovering over, what they're mousing around, and where the coin is at all times. Basically, that's so you can kind of anticipate what they might play.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing as far as keeping the mulligan. I don't have anything on that. I would probably, I don't even know here. You keep your Righteous Protector and Wicker Flame. Throw back the South Sea. What do you think?
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. All right. And then right here, when you hit enter, you want to end turn. You want to see what they got rid of, and they kept that far card. It looks like
they did. They kept the one card on the far left and mulligan the other 2.
yes, very important. And then so I believe that's something very important to them, right? So,
so we drew. Our hand is Muster for Battle, Wicker Flame, South Sea Deckhand, Righteous Protector, and Lost in the Jungle. So, all right, using your system, what is our play here?
all right. Well, I would either play the Righteous Protector or the Lost in the Jungle. I think maybe Lost in the Jungle. What do you think? How do you feel?
I like it because both of them are 2 pings away.
Yes.
So either they're going to take the shield or they're going to take a minion. We want to make them use their hero power because that tells us what the value of that first card is or not.
Yes.
Okay.
And then
Go ahead.
At this point, this is something that Blister Guy talked about. Always be counting, but I want to add to that the word everything. Count your cards, their cards, your mana, what's left in the deck as far as running out of cards. If you want to fatigue them, how many cards are in their hand. Just count everything every turn. Just mouse over it if you're using a deck tracker, or count everything, because you'll be surprised at how many times you miscalculate your mana because you just was not counting everything correctly.
And that Archaeologist was the first card on the left. So
yes, thank you for noting that.
We did call that right.
Right.
All right, so what do you think we should do here?
See, this is where I have the framework, but I'm not exactly sure how to trade efficiently. I would ignore it altogether on this turn myself. I wouldn't trade anything into the Archaeologist. I would assume if we want to protect our dudes, which we do, we would put our protector, our righteous protector down. What do you think?
Yeah, I like it.
Because if this is a dude buffing deck, we're going to need to keep those things alive if we can.
Okay.
And we kind of want to give the illusion that we don't have a solid turn 3 play.
Right. I like that.
And we actually have a couple different ways to go. That's exactly how we wanted them to do it.
At this point, we can see, we're going to ask our first question. It's going to be, what's my opponent? Is he aggro? Is he control? Is he a elemental? So what do we think this guy is as of right now?
Well, with the Mana Worm, it's either a Secret Mage or a Tempo Mage. Both kind of have the same framework, but they also play the same way. One just uses more spells, one uses more minions. The Tempo Mage tends to have the Bone Mares in them. So we kind of got to watch out for turn 7.
All right, so what do we think our play is here?
What do you think about a muster for battle? Is that...
I not only like muster...
We could muster, coin, South Sea, and kill the 1/3 Mana Worm.
Okay, or we could cut...
I like that. Great.
We could coin Knife Juggler, then muster as well, either way.
Well, we can't coin. That'd be a turn 4 play.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry.
One
Go
mana
ahead.
short. Yeah.
Yep. See, count your mana.
Yeah.
I was reading my paper, kind of not paying much attention here.
Now we can use those other 2 dudes to go ahead and clear the Archaeologist, or dude and the patches.
Right,
Dude
dude
and
patches.
Yeah, dude and patches.
Yes.
And that's mainly because we want that dude value.
Yes, because we've got our quartermaster. We're just waiting to play him. We're hoping we can keep the minions alive.
Oh, so this is an elemental mage.
Okay. So at this point, we want to see what is our plan now. Are we trying to do that quartermaster? That's the second question. What's our plan? Are we gonna? Right now, we're just trying to keep our dudes alive.
What do you think about Corpse Taker this turn?
I like it. It's active, so I don't see what would be wrong with it.
The only thing it's going to miss is the lifesteal, I believe.
It'll get Wind
but
Fury,
that's fine.
It'll get Taunt, yeah. Or not Wind Fury, Divine Shield and Taunt.
Oh, yeah, because there's no Wind Fury.
Yeah.
And that's the most important thing, because that's going to protect our dudes going into turn 5. And I'd go face. Now, this may tell him we have
the weapon.
I would hold the weapon.
Okay.
We may need it to get a final blow into something.
Yeah.
Because going into the turn 5, they may bring out a 4/5 or something with 4 health.
A secret. So, is he? Well, Trevor, what secret would he be?
Well, the only secret I think would hurt us is Mirror Entity, and it doesn't actually hurt us that bad.
No.
We could trade in 2 dudes to clear the Quartermaster.
So this is a Quartermaster turn regardless.
Right? I believe so.
Yeah.
And so our plan, that was we got our plan, and the notation I kind of put on here is the plan can change at any time. You don't have to keep the same plan. And once you ask yourself what that question is, you can change your plan later. And then you just need to know, after that, we're trying to figure out how do I end up losing once I've got my plan and I've got, like, we're doing pretty good here, right? We've got board presence. How do we lose now? What can we screw ourselves over with? And things like playing into a board clear, or if that's a counter spell and we proc that counter spell.
So he just fire blasted our Quartermaster the turn before.
Yeah, on turn 6.
So turn 7, he's probably going to play Flame Strike.
Yeah.
Right. So see, that would be one of the things. What now that we got our plan, how do I lose? Well, we could lose a lot of damage and a lot of minions here in presence by playing into his Flame Strike.
Here's the thing, though. We can pop his block this turn.
By playing the Rallying Blade.
By playing the Rallying Blade, and we have, what is that, 11 on board? So we would want to go to face with the 3 Silverhand recruits and the Rallying Blade, and then hit Quartermaster last.
Last, correct, yeah. That's what I was thinking.
And if this is Counterspell, we win.
Yeah. Which is one of the other things is when you're counting all your damage. Yep. Always count your damage, always count everything multiple times like I messed up with the mana count. And then analyze all your... Oh, we got him. Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Now, one thing I want to point out is these steps that Straydog is laying out, he's going to have it more articulated in the blog that he's going to be writing. Right now, it's kind of, you're under the gun when you're on a show and you're having to explain it to 3 different people and think it out. So don't necessarily expect perfect, flawlessness when you're trying to explain it. But once you're able to read that blog and actually act it out yourself and go through those steps, it'll make a lot more sense.
Yes. And you have more time when you're just doing it yourself and you're not, have 3 people trying to figure out what we want to do. So, yeah.
And he's also coaching us along a deck he's not necessarily familiar with as well.
This is true.
All right. So our mulligan this time is Knife Juggler, Steward of Darkshire, or Muster for Battle. And it's important to know we are going first, so we do not have the coin.
And we're against a rogue. I would probably pitch it all. What do you think,
It's wild. Rogue wilds, I would imagine, are pretty much all old miracles. So you probably have 5 turns of freedom to do whatever you want. So I would say I would pitch it all and go for some of my early game.
Okay. Straydog, you good with that?
Yeah, I'm good with it. I like the way Versika played off that he was sleeping over on us. I like that. nice comeback. That's good.
It's your method is very similar to a method that I use, so I'm just trying not to get in your way.
Oh, well, that makes me feel really good because I know you're as far as I've seen, you're a better player than me, so that actually reassures me.
All right, so since we're playing against a rogue, and he has the coin, he mulliganed 2 cards. He has the coin, so he could coin into a weapon. Should we play the Righteous Protector first, so he has to go through the Divine Shield?
Sure, I feel like he's probably gonna. I mean, he can kill our stuff off either way it goes if he wants to.
I think it's gonna eat a Patches.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna eat a Patches as well.
Okay,
let's eat a Patches then.
Nope. And in this case, you want the Divine Shield over the Lost in the Jungle, because the Lost in Jungle can follow up next turn.
Yeah.
Right.
Important to note that we have Lotheb in hand.
Okay, so he passed on turn 1. Should we Knife Juggler to prepare for Lost in the Jungle next turn?
No.
I think we do, and this is why I say so. He held 2 cards in his mulligan, which means he didn't hold one cost spells or
so
we
just hero power. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I think Versika's on target. I think this is a miracle based deck. Yep, here come the backstab.
There's his backstab.
Why does this guy's name sound familiar?
Fan of Knives.
Oh, this is Salt.
No.
Yep.
This is Salt.
It is.
From THL. He's really good. And this is probably Miracle. Yeah.
Well, that's all right, because we've got a THL, SHL All-Star with us.
That's right. Wait, what?
I think you Rallying Blade.
Oh, well, yeah.
And trade the dude in.
Rallying Blade, trade in the dude, kill the captain.
The captain.
I think this is tempo with a slow start, actually.
Okay.
Now that I look at it a little more.
Now that I know who it is, I think you're probably right.
Oh my gosh, we got such a good turn 4.
Knife Juggler.
Knowing he's not going to run Fan Knives. Knife Juggler into South Sea Deckhand into Lost in the Jungle.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Oh.
He's going to prioritize the South Sea Deckhand and the and a Knife Juggler, and we'll have Light Fuse Stegodon next turn.
Yes. That's a pretty good little turn we have there.
I'd hold the weapon.
I was
Yeah.
going to.
Yeah, let's save that.
And there he goes.
Fire Salt.
Oh.
I absolutely love the Dude Paladin in Wild. So
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. The deck is a lot of fun. So, all right, well, that's 2-0, guys. Just like that. You know, that's all it takes. So, make sure you check back at heropowerhs.com in the next few days to look for Straydog's article on what to do per turn.
I got an idea. Do you guys have an extra 10 minutes or so?
sure.
What do you think?
Sure.
Zeroshio, Avantes?
Sure.
Okay.
I am at y'all's mercy.
So I tell you what, we're not going to. We'll double spectate here. So I need Straydog to accept my friend request. Let me get that going here real quick.
You know, in baseball they call it extra innings. In football it's overtime. Here it's just free hero power.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
All right.
You are in the Raza hour.
Yeah. Let's see. Could you Scott message me your battle tag?
As soon as you tell me how to do it.
Top right corner there should be a little bubble that pops out, allows you to message someone.
Or either one of these guys can do it too. I think I'm the only one that didn't have you on.
How dare
I don't
you? Can't believe it. Oh.
Hey, you didn't invite me either.
Man, I actually thought I had found you somehow and added you a long time ago. I thought. Maybe I'm wrong.
I think you probably did, but you guys play enough tournaments that I was probably one of those. I was probably one of those casualties of only being able to have so many friends.
Got it.
Okay, so Zeroshio, you're in game, right? You are in game. All right, I'm going to challenge you, and we're going to let Avantes double spectate and let Straydog double spectate, and we'll go through. We'll let Straydog explain his method a little more when we're not having to rush through the turn.
Okay.
Okay, so do you want me to still spectate Avantes?
No, you're going to spectate both Versika and Zeroshio, which I'm sure Zeroshio will tell us how to do that as soon as he unmutes himself.
Yeah, because I'm...
Oh, yeah. I've been talking to y'all. Just thought you were responding like I, like you knew what I was saying. Yeah. If when we start our match, you can spectate one of us. Wait till the game completely loads in, then you can go back to your friends list, spectate the other person, and their hand will show up.
Okay, so I'm going to play a deck that everyone kind of already knows, so that makes it a little easier for you to talk about anticipating what's in your opponent's hand.
And I'll do something similar.
I have some pretty crazy decks right now, so we're not going to bring it crazy. We're not going to bring crazy on the show today.
There's enough crazy in real life. We don't need any of that today.
That's right.
Especially if you're a Tennessee fan.
Oh, don't start! Don't get me started.
Okay, so you can spectate Versika, and then once you're into the game, spectate me, and you'll start seeing my hand. You won't see my mulligan, though. So...
All right.
Okay, here we go. So now I just go over here and spectate...
Zeroshio?
Yeah, I'm finding Zeroshio. Okay, and then I just click the eyeball, correct?
Yep.
And then it'll give you spectate option. You hit spectate.
And you should be able to see both hands.
There you go.
Oh, it's up. Okay.
Yeah, you'll have to
That's
deal
cool.
with
Yeah, it'll be upside down.
That's cool.
And feel free to talk about both hands. The result of the game isn't what's important.
Right.
I'm sniping him anyways, so.
All right, so coins on the far right. I was still messing with the spectator thing. I didn't see which cards he mulliganed away. So let's see, what did we do? Oh yeah, my biggest thing at the top of my stuff wrote down is slow down. That's the biggest thing I have written up here. So we're ready to end turn. All right, there we go. All right, so you would see him hovering over the coin, and you would automatically know he's fixing to try to coin something out early. But people can also trick you with that. They can, if you've got some high level players coming through, or you're higher rank, they'll trick you. They'll just hover over stuff for no reason, just to confuse you. So you do have to take that into account. But I try to think that far ahead, because I say that where I'm at, they're not thinking that far ahead either. I mean, we're not ranked 5 here, so.
And I will confess, I am one of those players that will hover over a card specifically to make other people nervous about that card.
I suspected that you might be. I did, so. What do we got? I don't see anything wrong with shadow word painting that. I don't know. What do y'all think? I tell you what if
Zeroshio, do you think we should shadow word paint your imp?
What if
you're muted again, Zeroshio?
What if I just talk over my list and kind of let y'all actually make the play and make the call? How about
there you
that?
Go.
So I can just okay. All right. So you go ahead and play your game, and
So normally right here, I would start hovering over free from Amber, just to make them think that I'm considering using it.
Yeah.
I'm giving away all my trade secrets here, so.
Well, I'm always skeptical of the cards they keep that's in the far left that they never play. I keep wondering, what is that one they never want to play, and what are they waiting for? So at this point, taking if I was Rosika, I would just be counting everything again, looking at their hand size, looking at my hand size, keeping up with their decks, seeing if I don't think either one of these guys run a mill deck, so no worry about burning any cards or trying to fatigue me with the cards yet. So, and by this point, you'd be trying to figure out what the Warlock is playing. If he's trying to do some kind of a zoo deck, or if he's just straight aggro, or if he's some sort of control where they're holding their cards and they're waiting for turn 4 to play that Drake or something. I'd kind of be waiting for that. And trying to anticipate if I'm needing to be defensive or whatever. That's actually my first. There it is. My first question I ask is what's my opponent? What are they, and what position am I taking if I'm defending or attacking? And
if you're the aggressor,
yes, that's
the beatdown.
That's the
or the
term I
beatdown
heard.
or the defender. Yeah,
that's the 2 terms I heard. Whoever it was I stole this from, that was the 2 they had mentioned.
So that actually,
I stole it from 1600 Dust.
Okay, I was thinking. See, I was thinking Top Deck Kings for some reason. I don't know why.
There was an article written about 15 years ago for Magic the Gathering called "Are you the beatdown or are you the?" I forget what the exact term was, but that concept has been in CCGs forever.
And 1600 Dust did credit that article for coining those phrases.
Okay, well maybe it was them that I heard. That's definitely one of my podcasts I listen to for sure. So at this point, I've already asked myself, what's my plan now? What am I fixing to do to once I figure out what he's doing, what is my plan? How am I gonna to defend against this and take the board control? But this deck has just got one plan, right? It's just go big and keep going big for
I take it
cheaper and
back.
cheaper
That
mana.
article's almost 20 years old.
Wow.
The name of the article, if you want to read it, is called "Who's the Beatdown" by Mike
Okay.
Flores.
I'll have to check that one out. And if we ever do get the board back, or really at any point, you've got to figure out how you can lose, what their deck's doing, and how they're actually going to, what their plan is, because you need to figure out how to thwart their plan sometimes and stop them from doing something. And you just say, well, how am I going to lose? You got to know your opponent's deck, what turn their board clears play, what the secrets might mess you up. You got to watch out for like your bloodlust, like overcommitting large minions before Anduin is played and he kills them all for free. Things like that is ways you can easily lose. And I mean they actually kill you that turn, but basically the game can be over on those big turns, like those big, they call them swing turns or tempo turns, I think.
Like
you gotta
right
watch
then?
out. Like that, yes, the turn 7, yes, there's one of them. You got to be careful, and that's just anybody's deck there because everybody's throwing the bone mares in. So that's not necessarily class or deck specific. You have to watch out for those.
See,
And that is a
if
way.
Spiver was in chat right now, like he tends to be, he would be really excited he saw the bone mare.
Yes.
That's all I'm gonna say about that.
And one of the things too is I was a huge. I always messed up on this part. Review and analyze all of your plays and all of your options and all your combos. I would just be throwing stuff down and hitting in turn, hitting the green button, right? Because I wanted to go, I wanted to play. And I've had to slow myself down and look at the different options that might be better. And as you've seen before, I do miscount my mana sometimes. So I want to make sure I have enough mana to make these combos that I think I can do. And that's something I definitely do every single turn now that I've done it so many times is I count my mana, count my combo pieces and my different options that I can use.
Oh no,
Wow.
that's huge.
That's what she said.
You set him up.
That's right.
And see, I had cut that card free from member from the was it Wicked Goods deck he had that was so popular and everybody had that article about.
Yes.
Yeah, I had taken that out. I didn't like it. It wasn't doing me any favors. Obsidian statue is so just nasty.
Yep.
That it is.
It kind of seems unfair, and then I mean, it's got the 4 attack, so against priests it's tough. It's got a big old booty on it. It's giving lifesteal, and it's giving death rattle, and it's destroying the minion. That's a beastly card. And then so later on down one of the last things I go through is once I figure out my course of action, what I'm going to play, I want to make sure, I want to see how I'm going to get, how that will punish me. What if that decision versus the other decision, one of them I just get punished severely, and it's just if you ask yourself that question in your head each time, you'll prevent yourself from making the wrong play. That's how I decide whether I want to go, because I'm still learning how to value trade or get the best trade for me, or when just not to trade. I'm terrible at just trading everything in all the time just to clear their board. Terrible at doing that, and
That's
when I should just be going face or something.
Oh, that's nasty.
And see, this is a point where when you go back to your questions and you would see that your plan is different now and it's changed because you've got some. Well, he's fighting back though. That was another important thing I had to realize. My plan can change over the course of time. I don't have to stick with the initial plan if things go crazy. And the very, very last thing, which you just saw, was what's the worst that could happen? And I believe that was probably one of the worst things that could happen.
No, I think one of the worst things that could happen would be once the set releases, you psychic scream here, put all these minions back in Zeroshio's deck.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So see, and there's a Doomguard. See, what's the worst that could happen? A 6/8 Doomguard, and oh my gosh, this is. And see, you took care of both the statues, so.
Wasn't easy.
And then once I hit the what's the worst could happen, and I make my decision, I just start back at the top, slow down, and I skip my initial stuff from the mulligan, and we just go to these 4 or 5 questions. You know, what's my opponent doing to me? What's my plan versus his plan? How am I going to lose? Analyze all of my options, and then what is the worst that could happen once I pick that option, and then you just cycle through those questions after each turn, and don't forget to always be counting everything you have. Always count it. See, I like in this situation where he has only 1 card. I mean, he's at a disadvantage when we have a handful of cards. So I would say we would put the pressure on him, but he's already putting the pressure on us. So this, the Prince is doing some work here.
Thing is you can never count out this big priest deck.
Yeah. Does
so good. See, I know he still has 1 more obsidian statue in the deck, and I'm not watching his hand. And I'm trying to play slow, like I'm trying to telegraph a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Come on, big money. Oh, well, I guess that actually will help.
I don't want to see the Priest of the Feast. Oh, he's got it. Got the horror. No. Huh? That's tough, though. So actually aren't bad.
No,
that one's kind of bad.
No, Shadow Essence.
Yeah, that actually wasn't that bad. Set of burns.
I love Nosdormu in this deck. I absolutely love it.
Now I'm in a bad spot. Oh, no. And he gets the Priest of the Feast.
And now the fun starts.
I think I'm giving Matt at Arms PTSD.
I think you might be.
Funnel cake. Okay.
Oh, this is bad.
And you picked you picked that play over the obsidian statue so you could heal yourself, or?
Yeah, because I like putting the pressure on with just Yasar's because I know I'm going to get another minion at the end of the turn. So having Obsidian Statue is sort of like a backup in case he manages a board clear. Means that he's used yet another bit of minion removal, and to me, Obsidian Statue is the most valuable minion left in my deck.
Okay.
What you don't know is I have lethal. It's my lethal, but I have it.
Well played, gentlemen.
And see, I was trying to. The reason I was aggressively tapping is I was trying to get to my Gul'dan.
Yeah, right.
Because that was going to put up taunts and buy me some more time.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, first of all, Straydog, thank you for coming on the show this week. And
thank you. Thank y'all for having me.
Yeah,
I appreciate that you said thank y'all.
we are really looking forward to your article so that we can all read it. I know it's going to help me immensely because one of my biggest issues is I plan my turns ahead and I'm like, oh, play this in turn. Oh, dang it, I should have done this.
Yes,
and,
I did that. Oh, man, I'm the worst at it.
So I'm really looking forward to reading your article, and it will be on heropowerhs.com here in the next couple of days, so make sure you check back. All right.
Look, guys, y'all are the best.
Well, thank you for saying that. Thanks for coming on and sharing your system. For a lot of people, and I know I'm someone that kind of struggles with this. It's like you got to walk that edge of divulging too much of what you do.
Sir, yes, sir.
So it's appreciate you coming forward and saying, hey, this has helped me. This is how I go about it. Hopefully this can help you and giving back to your community in that sense. So we really appreciate that.
Absolutely. So, all right, guys, if you have any questions or comments about the show this week, please email us at heropowerpodcast@gmail.com. If you have any questions about this deck list, you can do the same. Please, if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button below on YouTube or give us a follow on Twitch to be alerted when we go live. If you are interested in our Patreon, you can find more details about that at patreon.com/heropower. And until next week, good gaming.
Save your gold. Expansion's out in a week.
Save the gold.